Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Joffy Noodle Legs here today with, oh, here he is, little Sullivan. Hello everybody. Here he is, everyone. The beautiful boy. Oh, isn't he gorgeous, eh? Oh, thank you, baby. So we're here today with another music top 10. And we've got another one of my favourite artists today. We're looking at Nick Cave. Primarily Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds. I don't have anything in my top 10 from his first bands like the Birthday Party and bands like that. I don't have anything. I do like his music, but it's not sort of like the music I listen to a lot, so I couldn't put it into the top 10 because he's got quite a few sort of strange albums with the Birthday Party, and he's done a couple of poetry albums which I've got as well, and he's done a few soundtracks which I've got those as well. I do have everything he's done. But it was really hard. It was really hard to sort of like get a top 10 together of Nick Cave. Just simply because there's so many albums that I love. Some of the albums that are not in here are like Firstborn is Dead, which I absolutely love. It's one of my favourite albums of his, but it didn't make me top 10 for some reason. Just didn't. I love that album. I love the song Tubalo. It's a great song, great album. So I won't waste too much time. I'm going to give you two honourable mentions. First one's a live album, recorded live at Alexandra Palace, and it's called Idiot Prayer. Now, this is just Nick Cave and his piano. What happened was, this was recorded a few years back during lockdown. He was scheduled to play with his band, the Bad Seeds, at Alexandra Palace. And obviously, because of lockdown, it couldn't go ahead. So he went ahead and just went in there empty on his own, Alexandra Palace, and the piano, and he performed a whole set of songs. And he released it as a double album. It's fantastic. I believe he did broadcast it live over YouTube as well, free for the fans. So that was free. This wasn't. But it's about 11 quid, so it's not bad for a double live album. And it's a fantastic career spanning sort of set. It's fantastic. Idiot's Prayers, definitely an album worth picking up. Another honourable mention is probably one of his more sort of latest sort of albums, and it's Ghosting, which I love too. It's just fantastic. I just couldn't put it in there. This is a double album again. It's got about sort of like 8 songs that are really beautiful and charming, and it's got like an album of like 3 instrumental tracks or sort of poetry sort of thing. It's fantastic. I love it. I do love this album, and I just couldn't fit it in there, sadly. But look at that sleeve. Isn't that beautiful? You know, it's fantastic. Ghosting, just missed out. So my top 10 favourite Nick Cave albums. At number 10, a lot of people don't like this one, but I do. And it's called Nocturama. I absolutely love this album. When this came out, it came out to mixed reviews because he'd released so many sort of albums that were like stunning. This one wasn't looked as being stunning, but I absolutely loved it. Wonderful Life, what a great track. It's such a good album. I love this album. If I had to do underrated, this would probably be my second underrated album. His most underrated album is coming a bit later in here. I think it's about number 2. But yeah, one of his underrated albums, Nocturama, fantastic, number 10. Number 9 is one of his earlier albums, and it's called The Tender Prey with the Bad Seeds. Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds. I think all these are going to be pretty much Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds now. There was a couple of solo ones, obviously, got the live one. But yeah, The Tender Prey. What a great album. It's got the fantastic songs, Diana, and it's got the Mercy Seat on there. It's such a good album. Cities of Refuge, Mercy, New Morning. The songs are they're just endless. They're just fantastic. Just great songwriting. This is quite raw. It's a very sort of dark, raw, punky blues album. That's the only way I can sort of describe it. It's really cool. You have to be in the right frame of mind to listen to Nick Cave anyway, I think. Some of his albums are beautiful and stunning, but some are quite a bit more of a challenge and listen. This is one of them. There's a few more coming further up, which I really like. So that is number 9. Number 8 is one of his, again, more sort of later sort of albums, and this is called Push the Sky Away. This album is fantastic. It is so beautiful. He did a video to go along with this, like a movie, which was really, really cool. It's shot in black and white. I do have that somewhere. I can't remember what it's called now. It's like 2000 something. I can't remember what it was called, but I do have it on Blu-ray, and it's a really cool movie. And he sort of like filmed it the same sort of time of going around to sort of like making this album. I'm trying to think what my favourite songs are on here. I really like Mermaids, if I remember right. Yeah, Mermaids, really, really cool. Jubilee Street, great album, really cool. Number 8. Now, number 7's a bit of a difficult one because it was recorded around the time when Nick lost his son, and it was like you can feel it in this album. And this is the skeleton tree. You can really feel it in the album. The songs are quite depressed. They are depressing, but you can hear the sorrow in his voice, I think. And that's why I love this album, because you can really feel his sort of sorrow that he's going through. The songs on here, like Distant Sky and I Need You, you can really hear his voice trembling, because you know he just lost his. So I think he's lost 2 of his sons now, but his son lost his son to a tragic accident in Brighton. He fell off the cliff. You might have heard it on the news, but yeah, this album was recorded not long after his son's death. I think it's something he felt he needed to do. And he also released it as like a movie. I think it's called One More Time, Please. I can't remember. I'm so rubbish with titles, mates. Please forgive me. If you're Nick Cave fans, I'm so sorry. I'm rubbish with titles. I just forget everything. But this is a fantastic album. Really cool. It's hard to listen to, just because you can hear Nick's voice, bless his heart. You know, well, what can you say? What number is that? 7? Right. Yeah. Number 6, another earlier album of his. A lot of people's favourite, and it's the Good Son. Again, this was a really classic sort of album of his that came out. He sort of this is one of his, to me, it was his breakthrough album. He released some good albums before this, and one of them's coming up. But this was like his real breakthrough album. It was more easy on the ear to a lot of his raw, raucous sort of stuff. It had some songs on here: the Weeping Song, the Ship Song, Lament, the Witness Song, Lucy. Such a good album. The Good Son, obviously. It's an easy listen to. It's beautiful album, and the sound is fantastic. Absolutely amazing sound. I have most of these in double albums, but there are some as single, because he remastered them. They came out as like these doubles, or like a DVD sort of thing. But I only could get hold of some of them, and a lot of them went out of print quite quick. So I ended up buying just the single ones, which is a bit of a shame. But that's cool. Number 6. Number 5. Now here's a great album. This is called No More Shall We Part. This album is just beautiful from start to finish. It's got some great songs on there. Love Letter, God Is in the House. What else is on it? Darker with the Day, Gates of the Garden. What an album, Hallelujah. Such a fantastic album. It's a really slow-paced, melodic album with some violins in there and some. It's just beautiful. It's a beautiful listen, guys. No More Shall We Part. If you're going to start with Nick Cave, yeah, I'm going to try and listen to some of his stuff. This one here, No More Shall We Part, or number 1. Okay, that's coming up. So we're into the top 5. 4. That was number 5. Number 4 was the first album of his I brought, and I think it's his first album since The Birthday Party, and it's From Her to Eternity. Again, this is one of the remastered ones, but again, I just couldn't get it as a double disc, sadly. But yeah, fantastic album. I remember buying this years when it came out. I just loved the cover. It's really like Nick Cave, because I brought a birthday party EP I've got Sunny's Burning, I believe, I think it was called, and that's fantastic. And I played that so much that this, excuse me, this came out not too long after it, and I just fell in love with it. And it's a really hard listen to because the music's a bit disjointed. It's very sort of punky and experimental in places, and it's very melodic in others. And the title track, From Her to Eternity, is fantastic. Avalanche is great, and Cabin Fever, great album. Top three now. This was so hard because all these to me are #1 albums, but I had to put them in 1 to 3. So again, this is another remastered album of his, and it's another early album of Your Funeral, My Trial. What a fantastic album this is. It contains two of my favourite songs of his, Stranger Kindness and Sad Waters. Two of my favourite songs are both on this album. Of course, the title track, Your Funeral, My Trial, is fantastic too. The Carney, it's a great album. It's not a long album, as you can see. It's not got many songs on there. 8 tracks. They're quite lengthy songs though, and they're great songs. They're amazing. So cool. Your Funeral, My Trial is my third favourite Nick Cave album of all time. My second is a bit controversial because a lot of people don't like this album, and I love it. I absolutely love it. And it's called Henry's Dream. A lot of people, it's their least favourite, and I think it's fantastic. I just love the whole album. There's not one song I don't love. Excuse me. My favourites are Christina the Astonishing, Jack the Ripper, Straight to You, Papa Don't Leave Me Henry, I Had a Dream Joe. I like every song. I cannot say there's not one song on here. John Finn's Wife. What a great... John Finn's Wife was like it's a story like about a murder, like a killer. And after this album, we went on to record a whole album of that called The Murder Ballads, which didn't reach my top 10, sadly. It's a great album. It contains duets with PJ Harvey and Kylie Minogue, but they're all songs about murders and killers and stuff. It's a great album. Just couldn't put it in my top 10, but I think that John Finn's Wife off this album was so popular that I think that he did a whole album of like serial killer uh, stories, and that's a really cool album. So my #1 album has to be, and it's probably most Nick Cave fans' favourite. It's The Boatsman's Call. It's perfect. It's a perfect album. It's just perfect. And if you're going to start listening to Nick Cave, this is where you start. It's his masterpiece. Every artist, I believe, has their masterpiece, has their Sergeant Pepper album, their sort of masterpiece. This is Nick Cave's The Boatsman's Call. It's beautiful from start to finish. It's fantastic. Songs on here, singles. I mean, it's Into Your Arms was on here. Are You the One I've Been Looking For? I saw like the big singles on here, but it's fantastic. What an album! And that is my favourite Nick Cave album. I've actually got that tattooed on my arm up here. That's how much I love it. Just love Nick Cave so much. And that is my favourite top 10 Nick Cave albums. Are you a Nick Cave fan? If you are, let me down below what your favourites are. It'd be great to hear from you. If you've not heard of him, please check him out. Please. You're missing out. You really are. Check out the Boatsman's Call. Check out No More Shall We Part. Check out the Murder Ballads, because that's a very interesting album, because they're all stories. There's stories in there about Staggerly and things like this. Such a great album. That's it, guys. So I finally got around to doing my favourite Nick Cave albums. I'm not sure what ones I'm going to do next. I might do the albums of Duke Special next, because I talk about him a lot, and I want to give him a big shout out because he's awesome. Until next time, you look after yourselves, look after one another, and I really hope I see you all soon.